There are people in life who don't just exhaust you, they quietly inflict damage and create chaos. And the scariest part is, they feel absolutely no guilt about it. They could be colleagues, friends, or even family. On the surface, they may seem kind and charming, but underneath they hide a calculating and toxic nature. Recognizing these people is not easy, especially when you have already placed your trust in them. But if you don't identify them early on, it's easy to get caught in a spiral of negativity that can seriously impact your mental well-being and personal life. In this video, we'll help you uncover 5 clear signs that you may be dealing with a harmful person. Someone who knows how to manipulate emotions and make you feel like you're the one at fault, even when the truth is the exact opposite. These individuals don't just hurt you, they make you doubt yourself. What makes this perspective unique is that we'll be viewing these signs through the lens of Stoic philosophy, an ancient school of thought that emphasizes living with reason, managing emotions, and cultivating virtue. When you understand Stoic principles, you learn how to remain calm, see through the surface, and slowly detach from harmful relationships without needing to argue or react negatively. But we won't stop at just identification. At the end of the video, we'll also share a highly practical and effective strategy to help you establish clear boundaries with these individuals. A step that protects your inner peace and helps you rebuild healthier relationships. If you suspect that someone may be manipulating you, or simply want to strengthen your ability to protect yourself, don't skip this video. This isn't just knowledge, it's a life skill we all need in a world where not everyone has good intentions. 1. Fake charm. When appearances deceive emotions. In life, many of us have been captivated by people who seem perfect at first glance. They effortlessly draw attention, speak with eloquence, and present themselves as friendly, empathetic, and deeply interested in you. In those early moments, you may feel lucky to have met someone so refined, intelligent, and magnetic. But over time, you begin to realize something unsettling. All that charm was just a facade. When initial attraction becomes a tool for manipulation, those who possess fake charm are often masters at making a strong first impression. They know how to use words, eye contact, and body language to make you feel seen and valued. But this is just a tactic to get what they want: attention, power in the relationship, or the pleasure of being admired. As time goes on, you'll notice they constantly want to be the center of attention. They're not genuinely interested in your feelings or thoughts. They're simply performing. When you succeed, they subtly belittle you. When you share your struggles, they make you feel weak or inadequate. Rather than building you up, they silently erode your confidence. Stoicism and the lesson of seeing through illusion. Stoic philosophy teaches us that to live freely and peacefully, we must keep our minds calm and not let fleeting emotions overwhelm us. The concept of apatheia in Stoicism isn't cold indifference, but rather a serene state where one is not ruled by negative emotions. When encountering someone with strong charisma, it's important to stay aware and distinguish between sincerity and manipulation. Don't let their initial charm cloud your judgment. A truly good person doesn't need to outshine you or make you feel small to stand out. They listen, respect, and walk beside you on your journey, not turn you into a supporting role in their performance. Stoicism emphasizes that while we can't control others' behavior, we can absolutely control our reactions. When you realize someone is trying to manipulate or hurt you with fake charm, take a step back, observe, assess rationally, not emotionally. That's when you're practicing Stoic philosophy, choosing to stay grounded and not get swept away by superficial allure. How to recognize fake charm. It's not easy to detect fake charm right away, as their strength lies in creating illusions. However, here are a few signs to watch for. 1, they always take the spotlight. Even when the story is about you, they steer it back to themselves. 2, their compliments are conditional. At first, you're praised constantly, but the moment you don't follow their agenda, the praise vanishes. 3, they make you doubt yourself. Instead of empowering you, they plant seeds of insecurity. 4, they're inconsistent. Their behavior shifts dramatically depending on who's watching or what they're trying to gain. Protect yourself with calm awareness. Once you understand the nature of fake charm, you'll learn to keep a safe distance. not out of suspicion or coldness, but to safeguard your mental space. As the Stoics said, it's not events that disturb us, but our perception of them. So choose to live with a clear mind and a strong heart. Don't let fake charisma make you lose sight of your self-worth. And when someone tries to manipulate you with a flawless performance, remember, say, true sincerity doesn't need a script. 2. Lack of empathy, the root of coldness and cruelty. In the journey of life and connection, what truly keeps people close isn't money, status, or appearance, it's empathy. Empathy is the ability to feel, understand, and share emotions with others. When you're in pain and someone understands that pain, you feel comforted. When you're happy and someone smiles with you, the joy becomes complete. But not everyone possesses empathy, and in its absence, coldness and cruelty can easily take over. What is a person lacking empathy like? A person who lacks empathy isn't always obviously bad. They can behave normally in social settings, appear polite, even funny. But when you truly need to share something deep, a sorrow, a worry, or even a joy, they don't respond as you hope. Instead of listening with care, they might ignore you, change the subject, or worse, mock your emotions. When you experience a loss and need a shoulder to lean on, they may say, "It's nothing, just forget it." When you share a hard-earned achievement, they might coldly respond, "Well, it's not that impressive." These reactions don't just disappoint you, they make you question whether your feelings are even valid. Cruelty doesn't need weapons. A lack of empathy isn't just carelessness. It often leads to acts of cruelty, with no guilt from the person causing harm. They can hurt others with harsh words, selfish actions, or complete indifference to others' pain. And because they don't feel that pain themselves, they don't think an apology, repair, or change is necessary. A single criticism may torment someone for days, but to them, it's just a joke. Abandoning someone may cause deep emotional damage, but they see it as their right. They live without considering the emotional consequences of their actions. And that is the truly frightening trait of a person who lacks empathy. Empathy is a skill. Not everyone has it. Many people mistakenly believe everyone has empathy, just not showing it at the moment. But in truth, empathy is a psychological skill, nurtured through experience, education, and the ability to reflect inwardly. Someone raised in an emotionally cold environment, discouraged from sharing feelings, or who carries unresolved trauma, may grow into someone who lacks empathy. However, this doesn't mean they cannot change if they genuinely want to. How to identify and protect yourself from someone lacking empathy. Here are a few signs to help you recognize someone who lacks empathy. 1. They constantly dismiss your emotions. Whether you're happy or sad, they act like it doesn't matter. 2. They never sincerely apologize. Instead of taking responsibility, they blame others or say you're too sensitive. 3. They never put themselves in your shoes. In conflict, they only focus on their own feelings and benefits. 4. They hurt others without remorse. Harsh words and selfish action don't make them feel guilty at all. Once you see these signs, you don't need to confront them aggressively, but you must set clear boundaries. Your mental well-being matters more than maintaining an unhealthy relationship. Remember, you deserve empathy and respect, not to have your emotions called irrational or dramatic. Empathy, the one thing we truly need to be human. Empathy is what connects us at the deepest human level. It's when you cry and someone simply sits beside you in silence. It's when you're in pain and someone holds your hand without saying a word. Empathy doesn't need grand gestures or eloquent words, just a heart that can resonate with another's sorrow and a joy. The world doesn't lack smart or talented people. It desperately lacks those who truly empathize. And if you're someone who has empathy, don't lose it just because you have been hurt. Because it's your understanding and your heart that shares, that makes you truly human. 3. Emotional manipulation. See, that's when you're being controlled without even knowing it. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you felt like you were always the one at fault, even though you were sure of what you remembered and how you felt? Have you ever felt guilty, ashamed, or pressured to apologize, even though you hadn't done anything wrong? If the answer is yes, then you might be a victim of emotional manipulation, a subtle yet dangerous form of control. What is manipulation? Manipulation isn't something overt like coercion or violence. It's subtle, hidden, and often disguised behind kindness, sweetness, or even vulnerability. Manipulators use deception, blame shifting, or playing the victim to make you doubt yourself, lose trust in your own intuition, and become easier to control. Instead of forcing you, they make you willingly follow their lead because you start to believe you're wrong, selfish, or too sensitive. Slowly but surely, you lose your personal boundaries. Gaslighting, the classic tactic. One of the most common strategies in manipulation is gaslighting, making you question your own memory, feelings, and sanity. For example, you clearly remember someone saying something that hurt you, but when you bring it up, they completely deny it. "I never said that, you imagined it." You're overreacting again. Who's as sensitive as you? Why do you always have to dig into every little thing? Over time, you start to doubt yourself. Did I misremember? Am I being too negative? Maybe I'm the problem? And that's when the manipulator has succeeded. Gaslighting is especially dangerous because it destroys your inner sense of truth, the foundation of autonomy and mental health. Once you no longer trust yourself, you rely on others to define what's right or wrong for you. And if that other is a manipulator, you're already under their control. Why are you susceptible to manipulation? Here's the truth. It's not because you're weak. In fact, people who are more likely to be manipulated are often the most compassionate, empathetic, and peace-seeking individuals. It's your kindness, your willingness to compromise, and your fear of hurting others that make you an ideal target for manipulators. They may appear pitiful, recounting all the pain they've endured, making you feel guilty for not being enough. They may fake vulnerability so that you feel responsible for staying and helping. They know how to play on emotions, and because of your goodness, you're easier to trap. Stoicism, staying rational, amid emotional storms. In Stoic philosophy, thinkers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius emphasize the importance of rational thinking and distinguishing what we can control from what we can't. When you're being manipulated, the first thing you lose is your rationality. You get swept up in guilt, fear, and confusion. Stoicism teaches us you can't control how others behave, but you can control how you respond. So when you feel confused in a relationship, pause and ask yourself, is this emotion coming from the truth or from the way they're speaking to me? Is what I'm feeling based on facts, or am I being emotionally led? Am I being blamed for something that isn't really my responsibility? Asking these questions is the first step to regaining clarity, seeing reality clearly, and breaking free from manipulation. How to protect yourself from emotional manipulation. 1. Trust your feelings and intuition. If something feels wrong, trust that feeling. Don't let anyone convince you that you're too sensitive. 2. Set clear boundaries. You have the right to say no, to disagree, and to feel hurt. No one has the right to take that away. 3. Don't fall into the savior role. Manipulators often play the victim, so you'll feel obligated to stay and endure. But remember, kindness doesn't mean self-sacrifice. 4. Practice daily rationality. Just like the Stoics taught, stay alert, observe, and learn to distinguish between truth and emotional distortion. Emotional manipulation is a subtle form of control, but it's not impossible to recognize and break free from. When you learn to stay rational, love yourself in healthy ways, and set strong boundaries, you become immune to those who try to seize your spirit and heart through mind games. 4. When love turns into control, understanding and breaking free from the invisible grip. In love or any close relationship, we all desire care, attention, and a sense of companionship. However, when the line between love and control becomes blurred, the relationship can gradually feel suffocating, damaging a person's freedom and dignity. Controlling behavior is one of the clear signs that a relationship is going in the wrong direction. It's not only a sign of distrust, but also a subtle form of manipulation that causes the victim to lose their autonomy, the very core of being human. Control is not love. A controlling person often starts with seemingly harmless actions. I just want to know where you're going so I can feel secure. That person isn't good for you. Don't hang out with them anymore. Let me handle the money. You tend to spend it carelessly. Gradually, they demand the right to make decisions for you in many areas. Where you go, who you are with, how you dress, who you can hang out with, who you call, what you post on social media. They might read your messages secretly, track your phone's location, control finances, and slowly isolate you from family and friends. They say it's because they love you. But in reality, love is not possession. True love respects each person's freedom and individuality, while control is a sign of insecurity and a desire to possess. When you gradually lose yourself. Those being controlled often don't realize it right away because all the behaviors are disguised as concern, care, or protection. But over time, you will notice. You can no longer make decisions for yourself. You feel afraid to express your opinions for fear of causing conflict. You feel guilty spending time with anyone other than them. You start doubting yourself, wondering, am I a selfish person? And the most dangerous thing is, you no longer recognize who you are. Stoicism. Inner freedom is something no one has the right to take away. In Stoic philosophy, sages like Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, and Seneca emphasize one point. No one can control our mind and choices unless we give them that power. Stoicism values inner freedom, the ability to think for oneself, make decisions independently, and live in accordance with one's reason and values. An ideal Stoic does not allow fleeting emotions or others to control their mind. They build strong boundaries to protect themselves from infringement and control. Epictetus' famous quote, "It's not what happens to you that causes suffering, but how you perceive what happens." In a controlling relationship, we suffer because we accept intrusive behaviors as normal or acceptable. Stoicism teaches us to recognize what is within our control, our thoughts, actions, reactions, and what is not, others' thoughts and behaviors, thereby maintaining mental sovereignty. Signs of controlling behavior. Are you experiencing any of these? They constantly call or text to check on you and get angry if you don't respond immediately. They interfere with your relationships, friends, coworkers, family. They control finances, holding money back, denying you the authority to make spending decisions. They monitor your personal devices, phone, social media, email. They make you feel guilty whenever you do something independently. If you recognize these signs, don't blame yourself for falling into a controlling cycle. What matters is not assigning blame, but taking action to reclaim your freedom and dignity. How to break free from a controlling relationship. 1. Identify the behavior. Call out exactly what's happening. Controlling isn't a special kind of love, it's abuse. 2. Set clear boundaries. You have a right to privacy, autonomy, and you don't need permission to live authentically. 3. Stay rational. Don't let guilt or fear cloud your judgment. Ask yourself, am I living for myself or just trying to avoid getting scolded? 4. Seek support from others. Friends, family, or a mental health professional can help you see the situation clearly and find a way out. 5. Practice daily mental self-control. As Stoicism teaches, focus your mind on what you can control, your thoughts, reactions, and the decision to leave or keep what's truly worth it. No one has the right to decide your life except you. Controlling is not love. Abuse is not care. A healthy relationship is where you can be yourself, free within the limits of mutual respect, not a place that makes you feel small, afraid, and lost. Stay rational, set boundaries, and never forget, you have the right to freedom, and no one is allowed to take that away from you. 5. Pathological lying. When the truth no longer has a place in any relationship, whether romantic, friendship, or work-related, honesty is the foundation for building trust. Without truth, there is no trust. Without trust, a relationship is just an empty shell. However, there is a type of person who lies unconsciously, continuously, and without a legitimate reason. These are individuals with pathological lying behavior. Unlike harmless lies told to avoid minor troubles, pathological liars can distort the truth about everything, from small matters like what they ate for breakfast to significant things such as their living conditions, emotions, or even personal history. What's important is that they don't need a clear reason to lie. Twisting reality becomes almost a reflex, a part of how they exist. Pathological lying, a tragedy for both sides. On the surface, pathological liars may make others feel uncomfortable, deceived, or angry. But deep down, they are also trapped in the stories they create. They feel the need to impress, fear the truth, or have become so accustomed to turning everything into a version they want others to believe. However, the danger doesn't stop there. When you are close to someone like this, your trust gradually erodes over time. You don't know what is true and what is false. You begin to doubt yourself. Did I remember wrong, or am I just being too sensitive? Your emotions are manipulated, dragging you into a spiral of confusion and disorientation. This is when trust is no longer a bridge that connects, but a swamp that pulls you deeper into mental chaos. Stoicism. Honesty is the right way to live. According to Stoicism, a virtuous life begins with integrity. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "If it is true, then say it is true. If it is false, correct it." Stoicism does not encourage distorting reality to feel more comfortable. On the contrary, Stoics believe that only by daring to face the truth and living in accordance with it can we achieve inner peace, ataraxia. In a world full of deception and complexity, honesty can sometimes cause us to be hurt, criticized, or lose something. But followers of Stoicism understand that the truth doesn't have to be pleasant, it just has to be right. And living rightly will free us from all illusions. Signs of a pathological liar. If you're wondering whether someone close to you is a pathological liar, look out for these signs. They lie about even small, unnecessary things. Their stories frequently change and are inconsistent over time. They often deny what they have said before and even get angry when questioned. They blame circumstances or others to justify their offense. They don't feel remorse or guilt when caught. More importantly, you might feel like you're living in a parallel world, where nothing is certain and the truth is always obscured by a fog of doubt. What to do when facing a pathological liar? 1. Recognize the truth. Don't rush to defend them. One lie can be forgiven, but repeated lying indicates a serious problem. 2. Don't try to change them. Pathological liars often aren't fully aware of their behavior or are unwilling to change. You can't heal someone who doesn't want to be healed. 3. Stay rational. As Stoicism teaches, distinguish between what is within your control, how you react, setting boundaries, and what is not, other people's behavior. 4. Set clear boundaries. You have the right to demand honesty and to walk away from a relationship if that value is not respected. 5. Be honest, at least with yourself. You don't need to live according to someone else's deceit. Stand firm with the truth because it's the foundation for a clear, meaningful, and authentic life. Don't trade truth for comfort. We often think, let it go for the sake of peace. But temporary comfort can lead to a distorted life. Lying doesn't just hurt others. It makes the liar lose themselves and causes the listener to lose trust in reality. In this noisy, chaotic world, honest people may be a minority, but they are the guiding light. They're not perfect, but they choose to live truthfully, even if it means loss. And that is the greatest courage, to live right amid a twisted world. Honesty is not an easy choice, but it is the only choice if you want to live a life worth living. Standing strong in a turbulent world. Stoic wisdom for inner stability. In today's modern world, it's easy to get swept up in relationships that seem appealing on the surface but are filled with manipulation, control, or deceit. Some people you thought were kind can slowly drain your energy, make you doubt yourself, or rob you of your inner freedom. Amid this chaos, Stoicism doesn't offer emotional quick fixes. It's a grounded philosophy of life that helps you preserve reason, compassion, and self-mastery. 1. Don't be fooled by appearances. Watch behavior closely. Stoics understand that appearance, words, or emotions don't define a person's true nature. Someone may seem friendly, attentive, or polite, but it's their long-term actions that reveal who they really are. As the philosopher Epictetus once said, "We are not disturbed by what happens, but by our interpretation of it." Stoics are not deceived by charm. They observe carefully, paying attention to how people behave in difficult situations, especially when they no longer need to pretend to be perfect. A truly good person shows patience, consistency, and respect, not only when things go well, but also when the winds turn. 2. Hold on to reason, compassion, and self-control. At the heart of Stoicism lie three core values: reason, logos; self-control, temperance; and compassion, justice/kindness. These qualities protect you from reacting impulsively or becoming a victim in toxic relationships. Reason helps you separate emotion from truth, shielding you from manipulation. Self-control empowers you to respond intentionally rather than sacrificing yourself just to keep the peace. Compassion reminds you not to meet pain with hatred, but also not to enable wrongdoing. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote in Meditations, "When someone wrongs you, remember they act out of ignorance. Do not hate them, but do not let them harm you." This is elevated awareness, understanding without enabling, forgiving without forgetting to protect your peace. 3. Set clear boundaries. Protect your freedom and mental health. In any relationship, setting personal boundaries is one of the highest expressions of self-respect. Stoics know you can't control others, but you can control how you allow them to treat you. If someone keeps lying, hurting, or overpowering you, stop excusing their behavior. If you feel manipulated, drained, or like you're losing yourself, that's your cue to draw a line or walk away. Stoicism teaches that inner freedom matters more than pleasing others. You don't owe anyone an explanation or guilt for protecting yourself. Boundaries are not walls. They're a conscious act of self-love. So how can you practice Stoicism in everyday life? Here are a few practical principles from Sage Life Lessons you can start applying today. 1. Observe. Don't judge right away. Before you trust someone, watch how they live, how they act when they have nothing to prove. 2. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If not, let go. If yes, act with reason. 3. Journal at night. Reflect on what shook your balance and how you responded. Stoics use journaling as a tool for self-examination. 4. Honor the truth. Don't idealize people or relationships. Truth may hurt, but it's the ground you need to stand firm. 5. Choose values over fleeting emotions. When faced with the choice between temporary peace and staying true to your principles, choose the latter. In the end, stand steady. When the world isn't, Stoicism doesn't promise an easy life or a world without bad people, but it equips you with spiritual armor, so you don't lose yourself in the face of temptation or deception. It teaches you to live with honesty, awareness, and strength. Not to become cold, but to remain strong while still keeping your tenderness. Because ultimately, the person who lives with reason, compassion, and boundaries is the one who lives free. If you found value in today's lesson, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share to spread this life wisdom to more people out there. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, because every experience holds a lesson. This is Sage Life Lessons, where we learn together how to live wisely and stand strong in a chaotic world.